Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn about elective paper that is on nanotechnology and its applications and all. So we will learn through that last previous class we have dealt with what is replication, recombinant DNA technology, and now we are going to learn about cloning. Okay, gene cloning. Okay, DNA clones we have learned. Okay, the production of the exact copy of particular gene or a DNA sequence. Okay, that is what is they are identical. I have already told you. So, a plasmid you can cut using a scissors called as restriction enzymes. Right? You are going to insert this new fragment of DNA into the vectors, and you will place it into the E. coli, and E. coli will multiply again and again, producing clones. Okay, gene clones are always identical, right? So before there are a lot of history behind this gene cloning. We know what is a clone, right? We have seen lot of clones. We know what is a plasmid also. These are the different areas seen in a plasmid. That is the origin of replication, right? There is a selectable marker. That means what? There is a antibiotic resistant genes. Which are the two antibiotics? Ampicillin resistant and tetracycline resistance. Then there is also multiple cloning site. That means you can add a lot of foreign DNA into this part. Okay. So coming to our topic, types of cloning vectors. Which are the different types of cloning vectors? Why we need cloning vectors? Because we need to carry, we need to carry the desired or the foreign DNA into a particular plasmid, and we need to store it and we need to amplify it or manipulate it. Okay. So cloning vectors, different types. In our syllabus you have to learn plasmid vectors, bacteriophage vectors, plasmid vectors, phage mix. Okay, all these points you have to study. So what is plasmid vector? Plasmid vector means it is simple because it is double stranded, just like a circle. Extra chromosomal DNA molecule. They are self-replicating. It can replicate by itself. So what is the advantage of this plasmid vector? Have you seen a plasmid vector? It looks like your bangle, just like a circle. You can see it inside the E. coli. Okay. What are the advantages? It is very easy to handle and purify it. Okay. You can produce more clones, small fragments only. Okay. Less than 10 kb. That means kilo base pairs. That much only. Very small fragments only you can produce through plasmid vectors. So what is the disadvantage then? Less useful for cloning large DNA fragment because it is only this I have already told. No, small DNA fragments only we can obtain. Next is a plasmid vector for cloning. What are the characters? There should be an origin of replication. There should be antibiotic resistant genes there. That is selectable marker. What is antibiotic resistant genes? That is one is ampicillin resistant and another one is T, that is tetracycline resistant. So how you can understand the plasmid is recombinant or not? Whether there is recombinant or not, how can you identify? Using blue-white screening method. Okay, blue-white screening method. This plasmid, it contains multiple cloning sites. I have told you, you can place your foreign DNA in different parts. There is different cloning site for it. Okay, you are going to place your gene on the left side, you are going to place your gene on the right side. So there are a lot of multiple cloning sites. As I have told in advantages, you can easily isolate it from host cell. What is the size of plasmid? How does it look like? How much is the size? 1 kilo base pairs to 250 kilo base pairs, you can see. Give an example for a plasmid, that is PUC8. How much is that? 2.1 kilo base pairs. Then tall like TOL. These all are the examples of plasmid. You can go for other examples also. Important and very famous one, the first vector that is being isolated is PBR322. Okay, PBR, P means plasmid, BR means this particular person who isolated it. Okay, so in this PBR332, there is two antibiotic resistant regions that is called as selectable markers, which are the ampicillin and tetracycline. And you can see array site. There is a molecular scissors can cut in a specific restriction site also. It has high copy number. That means what, you can multiply lot of copies of this. That is high copy number. You can multiply lot of recombinant DNAs. 1000 to 3000. Okay. So these are the important features of PBR. You can see the diagram of PBR322. See, there is an array site. Antibiotic resistant regions, replicating regions. See, this is a big one. This hind deep area are the restriction sites, right? For cutting molecular scissors, I have to come and cut. No, that regions are this hind E. coli R1, ECO R1. Okay, so these are the regions. But if we took a particular gene and insert it into our plasmid, no, some functions can disappear. That is inactivation. So this fellow, no, this yellow color thing, this DNA strand we are going to insert it into this particular tetracycline resistant region. What happens? It got inactivated. The tetracycline resistant activity get inactivated. So in this plasmid now, only ampicillin is active. What about this side? Here also ampicillin is active. But when we take into the tetracycline resistant, here what about here? The tetracycline resistant is absent over here because this one come and block the tetracycline activity of this plasmid. But what about this one? There is a tetracycline resistant area. So in this plasmid you can see only ampicillin resistant region. But in this plasmid you can see both ampicillin and tetracycline resistant regions. Okay, why what happened to this plasmid? Because we have inserted a gene that cause inactivation of tetracycline resistant regions. Okay. So you can see in this you can see only ampicillin resistant genes. In this plate you can see both the ampicillin and tetracycline resistant genes. Okay. So how we are going to identify this, whether the plasmid is contained recombinant or non-recombinant. That test I have told the name, blue and white selection test. No. So what is the size of PBR322? What is this PBR327? These all are what? These all are different vectors, right? Plasmid, right? So this is bigger size, that is 1089 base pairs. High copy number, it is having ampicillin resistant and tetracycline resistant regions. Okay, almost similar. The size, the shape and the function, the points are almost similar. Here there is an RI site. Here there is ampicillin resistant regions. Here there is beta galactose producing area. Lac is a lac operon padichetille. That is okay. So this is another plasmid, that is PUC8. So give an example for plasmid. If somebody asks you, you should write the name of this PBR322 or PUC18 or 19, whatever it is. Okay, so these are the plasmid vectors. So in this restriction site now, restriction sites of this plasmid now, you can see M13MP series of vectors. There is a name given for the vector, right? Okay. But this M13MP, no, it is only seen in single stranded DNA. Okay. So this is a plasmid, two type of plasmid. If I ask the example, you have to say this one, PUC19 or PBR322. Give an example for two plasmid vectors. You have to write these two names. Okay. Same thing as that I am saying. So these are the different functions of plasmid vectors. When we talk about the particular site of lac is, it means what? It produces only beta galactosides. That site you can see lot of restriction enzymes. E. coli R1 is a restriction enzyme. BAM H1 is a restriction enzyme. You can cut this portion, right? What is the function of E. coli R1 and BAM H1? You can cut this particular area and you can insert the foreign DNA. Okay, you can insert the new DNA into it. That is about the features. Okay, now we will move to blue and white screening. What is blue color and what is white color? In this petri dish you can see white area and blue area. If there is a white area, there is a recombinant plasmid. That is, there is some changes happening in the plasmid. But what about blue color? There is no any recombinant. How it was earlier, it remains the same. Okay, that is, there is a blue color. Okay, so resistant to ampicillin. Yes, you can see the areas, no? Selectable marker area tetracycline resistant and ampicillin resistant. Okay, so when we talk about lac operon, no? Lac is a code beta galactosidase, right? Lac acid. So lac acid can grow in where? The galactose substrate lac acid can grow, right? So it can turn the substrate into blue color. So blue color denote means what? What is blue color called as? There is a presence of beta galactose in the medium. So when I insert a new DNA, new foreign DNA into this lag operon, what happens? This beta galactose is not produced because insertion causes inactivation of the gene, right? Wearing a foreign particle, when it enters our body, we got very sick, right? Similarly, a foreign particle enters to beta galactosidase. What happened? Beta galactosidase function stops. So it becomes non-functional. That means it becomes recombinant. So it appears white. So recombinant is white and blue means it is non-recombinant. Okay. So did you understand this? There are recombinant and non-recombinant. Insertion, through insertion, beta galactosidase activity gets deteriorated and it turns white. So there is recombinant. What about blue? Blue means beta galactosidase activity is live. There is no any problem in that. They are good. They are non-recombinant. Okay. So there are different procedure. Okay. When a foreign DNA enters a plasmid, no, that area gets inactivated. And how come you are going to understand this? Blue and white screening method. Okay, you can differentiate what? Non-recombinant and recombinant ones. If there is white color, that is non-recombinant. If it is blue color, it is what? If it is what we have already learned. That is white color means what? White color means there is recombinant. Because it stops the activity of beta galactosidase, right? If there is blue color, it is non-recombinant. It never stops the activity of beta galactosidase. Hope you know the lag operon and all. Okay, don't get confused. So these are the different in lag operon. You don't have to learn much about lag operon now. We'll deal with other things also. Okay, these two are the plasmids, which is good, which is bad. That is being differentiated over here. Okay, remember the name of the plasmid, which are the two plasmids. Okay, now we will move to the next vector, that is bacteriophage. What is a bacteriophage? Virus infecting the bacteria. These are the virus that infect the bacteria. Okay, these are the that infect the bacteria. Okay, that is, it causes infection to the bacterial cell. So you know the shape of a bacteriophage. How does it look like? I know this bacteriophage is look like just like a hexagon head and a long tail with the just like claws. Okay, tail and head and tail is there. Head and tail phase is called alpha phase. Head and tail formation is called as alpha phase. And there is another phase that is called as filamentous phase, that is M13. Remember that. We have only learned about bacteriophages, head and tail phases, but there is another one is also there. Another phase is called filamentous phase, is called as M13. Two type of cycle take place in this phase, that is lytic cycle and lysogenic cycle. If you see this diagram, you will able to understand. This is the size of the phage, okay? 49 kilo base pair is the size. This is the phage, bacteriophage. See, this is the bacteriophage. Virus infecting the bacteria. Okay, this is the E. coli bacteria. This orange color is the E. coli bacteria and this is our virus. Virus is having the DNA. Double-stranded DNA is there. It is entering into the bacterial cell. Okay, so we are talking about what? We are talking about the phage, bacteriophage. I have already told you there is a head and a tail. 49 kilo base pairs. They are having lytic cycle and lysogenic cycle. Okay, we will look through that. Look at this diagram, we will have nice understanding. This bacteriophage is infecting our E. coli. It attacks the E. coli and it releases the DNA material, genetic material, and it gets incorporated with the plasmid. This process is called as episome. See the episome? Now it undergoes replication. But what about, this is lysogenic cycle, but what about lytic cycle? Lytic cycle is nothing but this phage cover and the genome is being produced. That means that caspid cover, no? That cover and genome is being produced. It gets packed like bacteriophage and there is a bursting of E. coli cell and the bacteriophage comes out. Okay, very interesting it is. So two phases, which are the two phases? One is lytic phase and lysogenic phase. Okay, lytic phase and lysogenic phase. Remember that points. Okay, So when we talk about phages as a cloning vector, why we are telling it is a cloning vector? So bacteriophage, it is a very simple example. Okay, bacteriophage is a very simple. Filamentous phage is also there, M13, right? So you can see a bacterial cover, protein cover. Inside that you can see DNA as a viral genome. Okay. So this is an important feature. What is the size of that phage? All are given there. I don't think so you have to learn the sizes, but you need to know about the functions. Okay. So when you look into the bacteriophage, you can see some sequence there. Okay. You can see the blue color. This is called as COS sequence. COS sequence. That we will learn. Okay. The DNA of the bacteriophage is not just simply bacterial DNA. It is having some projections there. That is called as COS sequence. Okay. So these are some of the examples. Lambda vectors, important vector. The name of bacteriophage we have learned now. That is all. So this is M13 phage. I have already told you bacteriophage and M13 phage. This is a single stranded DNA. Filamentous phage is called as M13. It is circular single stranded DNA molecule. Okay. This is very easily prepared in the culture for infecting E. coli. How much is the size? 6.4 kilo base pairs. It infects the bacteria. Okay, conjugation tube, inside to that you can see the bacteria's entry, and it is being transferred to the other cell. Okay, M13 phage. It is a single stranded DNA molecule. Okay, so this is a length. Single stranded filamentous phage particle is called as M13, and single stranded, remember that point, single stranded DNA molecule it is also having ORI gene. ORI means what? Origin of replication. This is a filamentous bacteriophage. Have you seen this before? This is a filamentous bacteriophage. Okay. So today we have learned about what? The vectors, cloning vectors, different types of cloning vectors. So we are in the stand of M13 vectors. Okay. How does M13 vectors look like? This is the condition of M13 vectors. There is lac I or I site is there. Okay. Restriction enzyme. See? Molecular scissors are there. Everything is there. Okay. The list goes like that. So what is bacteriophage? Again I am going to brush up some of the points. It is used for cloning large DNA fragment, that is 10 to 23 kilo base. 10 to 23. If you take a single plasmid, it only clones only less than 10 kb. Here bacteriophage is synthesizing big DNA fragments, 10 to 23 kb. That is the difference. Okay, it is less easy to handle, the cell handles. So it is having a very excellent selection capability. You can see that resistant regions, amphiphylline and tetracycline resistant region, there are selectable markers over there. Then M13, that is filamentous phage, single stranded DNA it contains. It is also helpful for sequencing, and you can identify if there is any mutation happens in the DNA. Okay. Next term in your syllabus is phagemids, or we are calling as phasmids or plasmids, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ F1 M13 hybrids. Okay, ഇതിനകത്ത് phasmid is, it contains, we have already learned ORI cells. This particular people is origin of replication for F1 phage. ഇതിന്റെ പേരാണ് F1 ORI, F1 ORI. So phasmid is it contains, the phasmid is also circular, it contains what? F1 ORI. Okay, F1 ORI. It is used as cloning vector, that everybody knows. You can see somebody there. Along with this cloning vector, you can see filamentous phase M13. M13 is made up of what? Single stranded DNA, that I have already told you. Filamentous phase M13 contains single stranded DNA. Okay, that caspid now inside the viral particle, we can see the DNA as single stranded. So F-ORI, F1 ORI, we are calling the origin of replication of double stranded is ORA, simply ORA. But what about single stranded DNA? We are calling as F1 ORA. So this is called as phase mid. Okay, phase mid. It is used for cloning DNA fragments. And it is used for transformation and electroporation that we will learn in the next class. Example for phase mid. Which is the example for phase mid? VCS M13, M13 K07. Any one example you will learn. Example for phase mid. Okay. So all these phase mid and contain what kind of DNA? What type of DNA? Single stranded DNA. Okay. This phase mid will insert the single stranded DNA. Okay, into the bacterial cell. Through how it is being transported? How the single stranded DNA from phase mid is transported to the bacteria? Through pilus. Pilus means what? Conjugation tool. No? Through the conjugation tool, the single stranded DNA will be passing into the bacterial cell. Okay. So these are the features. It helps in the replication of single stranded DNA. Okay, look at this. This is an example for phase mid. So phase mid contains single stranded DNA that is released into the bacterial host cell. Okay, it also it is also undergoing some lambda phase. We have learned about lytic cycle and lysogen cycle. No? Similarly, here it is undergoing lambda phase. Okay, how the replication occurs. So here, just like through conjugation tube only, this single stranded RNA is transported into the bacterial host cell. Okay, this is called as F plasmid. And then F1 origin, I have already told you, no? F1 ORA site is the origin of replication is there. So here this phase mid is called as F plasmid. Okay, bacteria contain F plasmid. This is the process. Okay, how it is being passing into the E. coli cell. So you can see the multiplication. See the phase mid, see the site, F1 ORA site and the PUC ORA site, then ampicillin resistant region. This is the structure of phase mid. Okay, so F1 ORA site, another name is single stranded DNA it is. Okay, single stranded DNA it is. This has been transported into our E. coli cell. This is how the process is happening. And next is cosmid. Cosmid is another hybrid plasmid. This is not a naturally occurring one. Okay. It is also contain lambda phase. Lambda phase cos sequence. That is what is called as cosmid. Cos site plus plasmid. I have told you, in DNA there is some bead-like structure. That is cos. Cos site are there. So we are calling as cos site plus plasmid. Is called as cosmid. They are originally from lambda phase. Okay. It is used as cloning vectors in genetic engineering. Simple. So you can produce the cosmid contain. What is the size of cosmid? 37 to 52 kilo base pairs of DNA. Okay. It produces big strands of DNA. It contains what? It contains origin of replication. Every cloning vectors is having origin of replication, right? Example is what? SV14 ORA. That is a mammalian cell. And what about another one? Called ER or ORA. ORA means what? Origin of replication. Okay, what about in single stranded DNA, the origin of replication is called as F1 ORA. Double stranded DNA, the origin of replication is called E1 ORA. What about us? Mammalian cell contain origin of replication SV40. All these are examples for what? Cosmid. Okay, cosmid also contain antibiotic resistant regions. So it also helps in transfer of the gene into the bacterial cell through transduction process. So the bacterial cell from the viral genome, it has been carried into the bacterial cell through transduction process. Thereby recombinant DNA can be produced. Okay, so we will see a cos. See the cos site. See what are the features of cosmid. When I ask something, it is a plasmid, right? Cosmid is a plasmid with lambda phase cloning site. Okay, lambda phase cloning site is the cos site. Okay, it is not naturally occurring one, okay? Not just like our plasmid. See the ORI site. See the ampicillin resistant region. This is the selectable marker region. Okay, this is the cos site. This is the lambda. Okay, this helps in the replication. What is the size of this? 37 to 52 kilodalton. So you can insert this packed DNA into the bacterial cell and produces very large plasmid. It can replicate as a very large plasmid. So when the advancement goes on, you can produce big DNA fragments. Okay, this is a core site. This circle-like region, no, that is called as core site. Okay, this restriction enzyme will cut this core site, and you can incorporate the what? You can incorporate the foreign DNA. This is the foreign DNA. Restriction enzyme will cut the core site, and this foreign fragment can enter into this core site, into this area for further replication. Okay. So this phosphid is not there in your syllabus. Phosphid, and the name of phosphid is F plasmid. Okay. So today we have learned about lot of other cloning vectors that is not in your syllabus. Some is there. The first 3 to 4 is there. Now next is bacterial artificial chromosome and yeast artificial chromosome. These two are also what? These two are also cloning vectors. So for winding up the section, we can say that what are the different cloning vectors? What are the different types of cloning vectors? For your exam point of view, what is plasmid vector? What is bacteriophage vector? What is phosmid and phasemid? You have to learn the example also. Okay, I hope this is very useful. Okay.